has a swelling on his knee started to come down?
A little bit, yes. Okay, I'm on live now, so I say welcome to everyone who is with us online, and we have few people here, and welcome to you guys. And yeah, a little update on Bob. Gerald was just asking about the swelling. He is feeling absolutely wonderful. The fact that he had epidural instead of full anesthesia made all the difference. Like yesterday was third day after the operation, and he was doing his crossword with the same speed as he usually does them. So he's clear cognitively. Like after hip replacement, he was so unhappy with the way he was looping in his own spiel. But this time he's just beautiful. He's doing great. He's walking. He's really dancing on his little walker. It's just a few steps a day, but yeah, it's improving, and he's getting a lot of beautiful, beautiful messages and a couple of phone calls, and yeah, he's great.
And less pain than he had with the hip surgery, yeah?
What?
Less pain than he had with the hip surgery.
No, the pain is actually the same, but it is medicated well, so that he gets drugs.
Good stuff.
He gets the good stuff. Yes, so we're gonna get to non-duality now. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm Bob, and I'm not gonna give you the same spiel as he does, but I invite you straight from the beginning to actually contribute, direct me, put things like really be here and yeah, participate, so we know where we're going with it. So we started with a little bit of a chat before the meeting commenced on a different belief systems, different conspiracies that actually make almost the definition of the world solid. Like if you believe the earth is flat, you experience the flat earth, and that's it. If you believe it is round, that's your experience. And this is really the whole non-duality thing, is to wake up to the awareness that the belief is not the actual. This is the whole awakening. Like you can have the beliefs, you can see other people having the beliefs, but then you realize that this is just something, it's just the concept, the definition, the model. This is not the reality. None of the belief is ever what it is representing. I mean, the world as it is completely unknown. We overlay a construct of concepts on that world and believe that this is what it is. Like we are looking at the tree, and this is an absolute mystery, but we call it oak, and now we know what it is. How much do we know about the thing by placing a label on it?
Yes, nothing.
Nothing. But because for one or the other, probably survival or reasons, the developmental reasons, we feel uncomfortable with not knowing. Because the knowing, the conceptualizing, the narrative came up as a way to also escape the raw emotions, lives that were maybe unmanageable. So now if I feel the raw emotion going, surging through my body, and I don't know what it is, I stick a label on it. Now it feels a little bit safer. I know what it is. It is anxiety. Does it really?
Yeah, a lot of people teach you label your emotions.
Yeah. You wanna?
No, nothing else to say. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of schools of psychology, or many actually, that would tell you to, when you have an emotion, decide, like, and they teach little children, you should know, well, what is this emotion? Oh, we're going to label it anger, or this is sadness, or I know, to connect with your feelings, that label it it's highly recommended. And in some schools of meditation, don't they kind of like just say, oh, like they, in mindfulness or whatever, they tell you to give it a label. Yeah. I remember taking a mindfulness training, and they were saying, label it. I'm like, why? Why would I do that? What if you just don't go to the label and just, as best you can, instead of going to here, just stay with here.
Absolutely.
And just be with it without having to call it anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And funny enough, always being a little bit of a devil's advocate, and I absolutely agree with everything you said, because that's, running away from raw life into the definitions and descriptions is not, it's kind of, one could say conceptually leaving present moment and what is, and replacing it by the story of contextualizing and creating time and stuff is not necessary. But they are methods and techniques in which actually labeling something, even, you know, the crazy, I don't know much about it, but I know that Bob is still on the mailing list of the Scientology, and he gets those ideas. He's been on one lecture probably 70 years ago. So they are those ideas that if you have some sort of an unknown stuff going on, and you give it a label and you give it a story and you channel all your attention into that label and that story, and then you let it go. Even use Sedona method. Call it separation, call it fear of this, label it whatever you want, and then really channel all your belief into it. Out of this, somehow, for some reason, it kind of works, it does the job. This is another way life expresses itself. Instead of really being with the raw energy, not anxiety, but just buzzing life, you call it something and you say, this is from my past life 700,000 years ago when the aliens crashed to the earth and I caused the civilization to fall, and that was dreadful. Every whole civilization died because of me. This is that release. And you just make it such a big deal of it. And then, forgive yourself, or whatever. Somehow, those stories have, you know, this is, the whole thing is the play, is the Leela, is the divine game. It's the play of life. When you actually see the play, you see the creativity of that play, and you see what works, and you just look around, that technique, nothing is wrong. No technique is wrong. No idea is wrong. No practice is wrong.
More effective, it seems.
Some of them are more effective for you, some are more effective for others.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, the whole mythology thing is a system of mythology really is a system of labels.
Absolutely.
Yes, you know, like Cupid fired his arrow into me, or Zeus came upon me. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
Yeah.
We have some comments.
Oh, go for it, please.
So Ben, we got Amaranth said, Kat, we appreciate your dedication and effort for Bob for satsang. Billy says, good morning, love from Liverpool, and Amaranth also said good morning. Ben has said, the internet as we are using it now is a physical manifestation of oneness, a blending of consciousness. And Amaranth said, it's great to know Bob's recovery and he's doing a regular routine. And Rohan said, good morning, Kat, and I hope Bob is recovering well.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for participating. I like the one Ben was saying about internet, physical manifestation of oneness, blending of consciousness. Yeah, absolutely. It kind of almost seems like there is a coming back to the recognition, because now through the internet you can't help but see that, you know, you basically extend your seeing. You put your computer on and you see the whole world. So where your eyes are everywhere, because your instrument, the computer, the camera, suddenly you, as the consciousness, have 1,000 eyes. You can see what other people see. How amazing.
I know, I could be on a beach in Bali.
You can. You can put your virtual reality goggles and you can fly into space. Yeah. Or walk on the seabed. Yeah, it is the divine game. It's a play of consciousness. I'll just put it out so I can see you guys. And yeah, and it is an enjoyable game if you are free from commitment, fanatical commitment to your beliefs. Because the moment you subscribe to something and you call it truth, instead of seeing it for what it is, that truth needs to be defended. That truth, if my truth is that Jesus will save me, or that Earth is flat, or that Illuminati or reptilians, I don't know. I don't really know much about it. I appreciate all those stories because they're juicy, they're beautiful, they're yummy. I love even, challenging the most Like, I had a conversation after the Zoom meeting last week with a beautiful man who had so much love and care towards the humanity that he was on the verge of almost breaking into tears that, oh, they're gonna kill us off, the vaccines are gonna kill us, and the earth is flat. And how do you know that? Well, you know, there's so much evidence in the internet. There's so much proof that this is so. I say, well, I just happen to spend 17 years as a ship's officer, and I was the officer responsible for navigation. I was planning the passage through the oceans, writing those lines for many years. Yeah. And actually, I don't know what the evidence says, but I can tell you I have first-hand information, not the second-hand. Oh, and the same with the pollution. You know, there's no pollution. Well, I happen to travel across oil fields. Oh, well, first-hand information. But his concern was about, this was a love for humanity that was pushing him to stand up and cry out, people, please, don't take vaccines because I believe they're bad for you. And trying to actually tell his family, don't do that. Well, what makes you believe that thoughts appearing here are more valid than thoughts appearing there? They're thoughts. They're old thoughts. And needless to say, even my first-hand information when I was traveling the oceans, I was also climbing the volcanoes in my dreams. That first-hand information too. I was flying in my dream. That's first-hand. That was personal experience.
Did you even find one flat bit in all your 17 years? Not even
all
one.
All of it was flat. All of it appeared to be flat.
Yes, yes.
All of it.
Actually, on the vaccine thing, I had my first AstraZeneca shot, and the experience actually was of joy and gratitude.
You can do it this way.
You know,
absolutely.
so there's another thing.
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Julia has commented, yes, it's all BS or belief system. And like Julia said, yes, it's all BS or belief system. I think I heard Prince EA said the same thing. You know, BS or not bullshit, belief system, appropriately labeled BS.
Yes,
yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is not whether you have the right or correct belief system. Okay, the vaccines are the love for humanity trying to save you from the deadly disease. I'm grateful. Or no, vaccines are to diminish population to save the planet. Or no, vaccines are to kill off the humanity so the richest one are getting richer. Neither of that you can actually say you know that is true. There's three options. You can believe whatever you want. How about freedom from all of the beliefs? How about the I don't know mind? How about the mind in which, yeah, this is one story, fascinating. This is the other one, fascinating. This is the third one, fourth one, fifth one. Keep them all together.
Mind
Look at them.
Likes to know, doesn't it? No.
But yes, the urge. Which one is
it.
mine? This is mine. Oh no, this is mine, and mine is better than yours. How about they all belong to the consciousness? How about they all show up in the consciousness? Delightfully dancing, expressing, look at me, I'm more dramatic. Oh, look at me, I'm more loving. Oh, look at me, I'm more scary. All of those stories, beautiful, beautiful stories, if you don't believe them. Because if you do believe them, oh my God, they're terrible. Oh my God, look at the amount of distress. And the man that I was speaking with, he actually, that was a marathon. That was like, the Zoom meeting ended up at 9 and we started speaking, we ended at midnight, 3 hours marathon. But we were everywhere. We were with Byron Katie's and whatever was resonating, whatever was his experience and was speaking to him. And by the end of the conversation, he realized, oh my God, I am just spending last 10 minutes scaring myself to death about some time or some ideas or some people who want to harm me and the humanity just because of my thinking. When I stop thinking,
there's no problem.
Yes, well.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
So that's what I really love. You know, what I really love the most about these non-dual conversations or the stuff that we're discussing really is like, I have 2 kids, and they think I'm into praying to elephant gods or something, because I'm into something that's just, I'll talk about stuff that just never think about. Like, the idea of know me. What do you mean know me? That's crazy. That's weird. You're weird, Mom. But I'm like, but I can explain if you listen. I can explain. But what I like about it is I'm not going off of a belief at all. This is not something to me. I love the quote that Bob says. Like, I just was repeating it to somebody last night. It's dictionary definition of belief. It is an unquestioned
Yes.
acceptance of an alleged fact. So we don't know for sure. It's alleged, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It's taken to be fact in the absence of reason. So we haven't reasoned it out or looked through it. Without positive knowledge, I don't have any experience or proof, my evidence. So we just believe that the earth is flat, or because we haven't been there or whatever. We believe that whatever. But the beauty of this is, to me, it's like I can look from my own direct experience. Right. There's another belief that I love to throw water on, or to drown out a little, is this idea of a free will, or a me that makes a choice. Well, first off, the me, there's an old quote that I just like. I love quotes. Anyone knows me is that truth is that which never changes. So what's the truth of what you are if truth is that which never changes? What never changed? What never changed?
Yeah.
And I think that truth actually can't really be spoken in words, because the moment you put a word on it, well, it's like I could say dog, and you might think Chihuahua, and she might think German Shepherd, and he might think Australian Kelpie. Which one of us are right? Of course, me. But I don't know. I like this idea that when you don't believe, it's encouraged to not believe in a way, to question it all, and then the false will fall away with the investigation. Pretty much everything is that falseness. But whatever, you can see it all as bullshit. Everything.
I can also add something, because I see where it would be quite distressing and confronting for your children or anyone to hear there is no me, because there is a fact of existence, there is a fact of I amness, of being, that is undeniable.
There's no personal me.
Yeah, that's right. So on the, like, if I would hear, and I did hear probably 10, 15, whatever years ago, that no, there is a personal me, but there is no personal me, and then I feel like, yeah, but I exist. I feel the existence. Existence is there. Being is there. Now the question is what I believe. Again, believe what I believe myself to be. Do I believe myself to be the body? Do I believe myself to be the mind? Do I believe myself to be great, or to be stupid, or to be inferior, unlovable? How do I define that sense of existence? The existence is there. And the honest answer is, I don't know. I don't know what I am. Sometimes I am smart and funny. Sometimes I'm stupid and ugly. Sometimes I am a woman. Sometimes I'm a mother. Sometimes I'm a daughter, or whatever. That's the funny part of it. Different roles can show up and different costumes are put in. But what is that which you just mentioned, Julia, that never changes? What is there underlying all self-definitions that never changes? I am. That doesn't change. When I was a little baby, when I was an infant, there was a presence,
Even
existence.
Before the sense of the word I am, though. So
Yeah.
like this, it's at the moment we go to a word, it's like we kill it a little, don't we?
Yeah.
Because there's a sense of I am. The first thing, when we woke up this morning, before the words showed up, the words, they divide.
That's right.
And then so the moment that to me is powerful. That's game changing, completely game changing. And it's, to me, what I love about it is I'm not going on to me, this is not based on a belief. This is based on personal investigation. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, so what's my next thought going to be? I don't know. I mean, you really choose your next thought? Are you firing you got trillions of synapses in your brain, trillions. And in order for one thought to happen, you got to fire a whole bunch of synapses. That's what has to happen anyway. But I suppose Did you personally? Is it a personal you? There's some little bubble in there or is it just happening? And I don't know. It's just happening, kind of. Just like the Earth just happens to go around the sun. It's just happening, and maybe there's no personal doer. There's just everything doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just happening. And the just. I don't know, I like that.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, simpler and easier and game-changing because, I don't know, you know what I think of? Because I had like a 30-year Christian story.
Uh-huh.
And there was something I saw in the Bible that like tears can be wiped away in a moment. And it can be. It's like the snake in the road. You know what I mean? And you realize that the snake that you thought was really real, it never existed in the first place.
Yeah.
And then all of that emotional upset that you had about that snake, you know, can just...
I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Only because I might lose the thought.
Go for it.
Please. You said about the snake. Something fascinating I'm watching at the moment is whatever world you build or whatever world you believe in can destroy you. I can't explain this. It's just something I'm experiencing at the moment. My dad, and I have experienced it personally, my stepdad impaled himself on his fence the other week, quite badly. Only because his mind. I'm getting to watch the mind, Kat.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to cry. I always want to cry. I've been wanting to cry the last couple of weeks, and I'm struggling to let it. I can't. It'll come. But I'm watching his mind, and what he did was he built himself a castle to protect himself from everybody, and it destroyed him. The castle's destroyed.
Yeah.
It's imploding, and I'm frustrated. Actually, I'm incredibly frustrated. He had all this money. He had all this time where we could have discussed things beforehand and prepared. Does that make sense? But yet, so I'm just watching that he built this thing to protect him.
So is he trying to find security through material
Correct.
possessions?
There was all this security. He built this security, but yet it kind of saved him because by impaling himself, the doctors then were able to say, yes, you've got advanced dementia. Whereas I went to doctors beforehand and they all said, no, he's fine. Which wasn't true. You know, I thought I was going insane. That's beside the story, but what the story I'm trying to say is I've done it myself where I've believed thoughts and I've built something around me and it's destroyed me. So it was just that snake analogy that made me think of it then, how I remember once, I'll quickly share it, I was going to a psychologist and she was trying to break all my walls down. And one night I had a nightmare and I was in this brick house and a man was chasing me. And I went from room to room to room and he kept getting through the door and he kept getting through the door. I finally got to the very last room in the house and I looked over at the bathroom window ready to break out and escape and the bricks went up. Boom, 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 boom. And I suddenly woke up realising it was me chasing me. I was the one building the bricks. I was the one locking myself in the house. I was frightened of me.
What a nice dream.
It was. I've had a few of those. Quite a few. It's what I'm hearing is the clarity of what our mind will do if we're not watching it. How it can destroy yourself. Your beliefs can destroy.
And at the same
To a certain
time,
extent.
these
To a certain
beliefs-
extent.
These beliefs can save our lives.
And that's true too. So it's it's not.
It can do both, but
It's just
like,
being mindful
like, I
of the
think-
thoughts.
I
I don't
think
know. Thank you.
It's like it's a marvelous servant, but a wicked master, you know. And so when you you can stand back a little bit and see these thoughts as just what they are, like little poofs of smoke. This is kind of way.
That's what it is.
It's like
believing. If we believe, whatever that thought is, do we believe? Do we question it, or do we flow? I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. No, a lot of us feel that. I think a strong necessity to hold on to a thought
Yes.
as this is purpose.
Yes.
I have a purpose. We don't want. A lot of us don't want to know or hear. Oh wait, no, there isn't a purpose. The purpose is, like, I posted the other day. It's an old quote that I'd heard a long time ago, but nothing in life has any meaning except for the meaning that we give it, and we don't give it personally. Yeah, Tony Robbins was where I heard it from, but he would have gotten it probably from the Course, right?
And they
But-
probably got it from the Bible. So.
Right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's right. It's old. It's old, but it's
Nothing's new.
yeah. And then Landmark Forum, I think, said it's meaningless and empty, and it's meaningless and empty. That it's meaningless and empty. That was like their little ad. Like you said, there's no meaning to any of it. So it's like, you want to have meaning, make it up, whatever you want. It's all in your head anyway. It's all in words, and the word is not the actual.
I'm
So
finding from all of this, though, sometimes I'm coming to a point where everything seems absolutely... Sorry, Kat, thanks. I'm coming to a point where, to me, everything absolutely seems pointless. Pointless and meaningless.
Is it
It's
a
a
elating
feeling.
freedom sort of a feeling, or is it depressing?
Both. Very good point.
Comments online.
Very good point, both.
Mm.
A little bit depressing because I don't want anything. I want nothing, I need nothing, what's the point?
Yeah.
Elating is the freedom. Yeah, there's a little bit of freedom of not needing materialism or worrying about what other people think of you or blah, 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 or the stories.
Yeah. So you could, if you could stay with the freedom part, you in your heart. If you stay with the depression, anxiety part, you in your head.
Oh, is that it? I wondered what it was.
Yeah.
It was the depression
Yeah. So
in my
just
head.
go
Thank
back
you.
to
Go back to the heart.
to the feeling, the raw feeling of it.
Thank you.
Even if the feeling is contraction, because what's the point? It's all meaningless. It's all nihilistic and stuff like this. People often have that. If I have no power, if I have no control over anything in my life, I just don't want to be around. I don't give a shit. So this is the the sort of the so-called ego, personality trying to grab attention, getting into a distress mode too, because nothing can exist without attention. So suddenly this is the way, I'm gonna kill myself, I don't want to be around, I don't want to be powerless, I want to be powerful, I want to be in charge. This is the head speaking. What's wrong with right now if you pause the thought?
Thank you.
And you go back to the feeling, and in that feeling of, I don't want to be powerless, see if you have ever had any power. Because there is only this moment, one moment at a time. And in this one moment, if you don't have the story, there is a lot of life going on. And if you anchor yourself in living that moment to moment, then responses coming from that moment will look equally powerful as ever. Like nothing that you have ever done in life was really you. It was always life behind you that moved you to do it. Like Julia was saying, you didn't know where that next thought came from. It just came, and the action followed the thought. But having a habit of responding from that, anchoring yourself in the present moment as it is, rather than the story, it's pointless, it's nonsense. This is the story.
We can include the internet. We've got people online commenting.
Oh yeah, go on.
Amaranth said the analogy of awareness and Wi-Fi or internet is excellent. Subtleness, beyond subjects and objects, all pervasiveness penetrating the universe. Like everything, the internet or bytes charge only. Rohan said everything is a type of energy only, including belief.
Of course.
Yeah. A thought is a movement of energy, isn't it?
It's nothing that is not the
Yeah, and energy, emotion actually is emotion is energy in motion. So he said, Rohan said, everything is a type of energy only, including belief. Was reflecting this morning on things that seemingly occlude the natural state. With belief, the problem is not the belief itself, but the believer. Any belief is only carried on when there is something solid or substantial to hold the belief. Yeah, I got to like kind of comment on Rohan's comment. I'm just reminded again, I'm sorry, somebody else, Alan Watts, who said that karma is not so much doing, but it's a sense of a doer. It just reminded me of that. And Amaranth said, beliefs are blind, non-investigation is the cause. All thoughts are clouds or illusions in the sky of awareness. He said, judge and interpreters are thieves. Judgments and interpretation can happen without these thieves. He also said beliefs are masks on the mirror or lens of awareness. Let it be there, unaffected by them. And Julia added, within the dream, we have various beliefs. We believe that good food will help us. Is that just a belief within the dream? Is anything true?
Good one. I love that question. Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Bill said, so ham, he said, so HAM or all caps, I want to comment, but I couldn't find any more to be said. However, thank you, Kat, and love to Bob.
Thank you, Bill.
And he added more love to you, Bill did. And then so Amrit said, seeing or illusion, belief as false itself, so it's destruction non-existent. So I guess seeing the belief as false or non-existent, it kind of kills it a little bit. It really does. John David Weekly said, Kat, happy to see you're carrying on the meeting. Thank you for sharing with us. Love to you and Bob. And
thank you, John.
And Ben replied to Julia, or Julia's comment was within the dream we have about the beliefs in which she said we have good food or whatever. Ben replied, within the dream we have various beliefs. We believe that, sorry. Ben said, Julia, mind, body, and soul, that's so relevant. It appears to have a lot of truth. Our long-held beliefs are powerful and can be like chains. I can only suggest that we be as open-minded as possible in this human form. You know, yeah. So the beliefs can heal.
Yeah.
They really can. There was this.
Think of placebo.
Oh yeah, that guy Nathan Brown or whatever. Darren, keep calling him Nathan. Darren Brown. He's got this documentary on Netflix where he talks about like all these people have these he's an atheist doing faith healing. Okay, and people are getting slain in the Lord, and he's kind of doing it tongue in cheek and stuff like that. Or some guy who claimed he could see, I can read this, yeah, I can see this, and he's like, nah, we're gonna just, and he takes away his ability to read, and he like, and then 2 pages later, this man couldn't see. Now he's claiming that all these people are totally not trained or part of a show or whatever. They were just regular folks. And he just, it's just all in the mind. It's really amazing. Ben said, was replying to Rohan, is that everything is a type of energy, only belief. Ben commented on that, and he said, Abraham said that beliefs are thoughts that we kept repeating to ourselves, or he's paraphrasing it.
Yeah, let me
And
comment on this one.
That's
it?
Yeah, that just wanted to include everybody online.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Nisargadatta had a nice kind of a take-up on belief. He says it is a fixation of an attention on a thought. It's a fixation. It's basically just not letting the attention flow freely, but just fixating on something. But I wanted to also comment on that idea of beliefs healing, because Bob has such a beautiful, like, knockout comment on this one. Jesus was healing. Jesus even resurrected Lazarus. Where are they now? Where is the blind guy now? He's been healed. Faith healing. Where is he now? Is he still seeing? No, he's dead. So, the faith can heal. If you believe strongly that the vaccine will save your life, or the high dosage of vitamin C will save your life, or the alkaline food will make you more mobile.
How long is that good for?
Exactly. Exactly. You're still gonna die. So there is freedom from belief beyond the beliefs that is much more precious than any supportive belief. And I tell you, I feed Bob vitamin C and alkaline food, and it works. He is so much more mobile, even now after the operation, than he was 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago when I moved in. He couldn't even walk to the cafe next door. So yes, it works. The collective belief, and is it only my belief, his belief, or whatever it is, who cares? who cares? I mean, really, you want a theory behind it? You want to calculate how many people have to collectively believe, like the 100 monkeys effect? 100 monkeys learn to smash the coconut with the stick, and then the monkeys around the world also learn how to do that instinctively. Who cares? There are theories, there's Sheldrake field theories, there is a lot of science or evidence or theories. Who cares? That thing going to the head, instead of just being grounded in the presence, you are moved to go on a healthy exercise regime, and you go. But if you start believing it, that you are right because you're doing it, and you start converting your family or your friends or your dear ones, you do what I do because I'm wiser than you are, my beliefs are better than yours, that's danger. That's where you're entering the fanaticism. Whether it is a healthy fanaticism or it is a sick fanaticism, is still, this is where you are surrendering your freedom to the fixation of attention on thought. You become a slave of a thought. Basically, the thought, like an imposter, is taken over, hijacked the whole system, and now the thought is perpetuating itself. Whatever the thought, alkaline food, vaccine, no vaccine, whatever. And now you go and you convert the world to be believer of the same thought.
So he said that belief is a fixation. Or it's a fixation of the attention, but it seems to me more than just a fixation, because I could say maybe, I don't know, the moon is green cheese, the moon is green cheese, the moon is green cheese, the moon is...
Thought is a fixation.
Well, he said belief. Belief is a fixation of attention on thought, on a thought. Right? So that he said a belief is a fixation of attention on a thought.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, if I'm not, to me, it's more. It's sort of a buying it, though. It's a sense that it's true. It's more than just an attention. It's saying there's what you say is true. Okay.
Well,
it's.
You're right. You're totally right. This is what Rohan was also pointing at. That to fixate on something, you first create the subject for who that fixation becomes personal. So this is where the believing, judging, leaving, whatever, breathing, sweating is an impersonal activity. For that to become personal, you suddenly feel that, oh, this is someone here, me, and this is mine, and this is important to me. This is where fixation happens. Otherwise, things just flow through the sky. There is no stopping on any of it. But then you create the subject. Now, this belief is mine. I have attachment to it. This is better because I own it. So the I is the one that actually causes the fixation.
But there's a bought into that there's an I that's true.
There is, yes.
There's a buying into it. So there's a belief that there is a true me. This is what I am. You know, and I think that my thoughts, or my belief, if you want to call it that, is that anything we can put after is M and R is bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a buying into it, so that's why, you know, this is handy as a mom. You know, any of us who are parents, you know, can maybe remember how many toddlers hold a grudge. They don't hold a grudge, do they? You know, they get angry, they get pissed off, they get sad, but then it's like you could go, well, where's the kitty? You know, and it's not so much just their short attention span that enables them to let go so fast, because I got a short attention span, don't I? And I don't know, not I, but meaning the personality or whatever, you know. But it's not just that. It's that they don't have anywhere for that sense of ownership or upset to land. There's no place for this anger to take root, and that place where it will take root is the buying into the whatever we put after I. So we start to think, because it's around 2.5 or 3 that those words start to cement, and we start to buy into this. I am Julia. As Bob says, a good girl, or I'm a bad girl. I peed in the room the other day and I shouldn't have, or I'm a good student, or a bad student, or I'm ADHD, okay, or I'm bipolar, or I'm whatever, I'm you know, and yeah, I don't know.
And let me get a comment on this one, because although it is really helpful to actually present the whole situation like this, and Bob is also using it, there is an energy of belief that energy goes and fuels the thought. But there is another way of looking at it. There is no me buying into it. There is only charged thoughts. So the very, very strongly charged by life, you know, almost like having this electrical charge within it. The thought comes and it finds that it resonates with that system. And the thought would be, oh, I'm unworthy, or I'm not good enough. Nobody's ever going to love me. And it kind of finds home. It feels true. It rings true. So that thought basically takes over the whole system. There is no me anywhere. It's just that thought and the system with which it resonates.
But what if you truly are unworthy? What then?
Yes.
The question I would like the answer to is, how do I stop, or how do we all stop our karma running over our dogma?
You are the greatest. It's just so wonderful to have you here, Richard. Thank you. Yes. Yes, so what if I'm really unworthy? Of course, if I believe that thought, that's the total experience. There is not a belief. Of course, I am then unworthy. But who is that I there? The thought comes with the presupposed I already in it. So there was no I a moment ago. It came with that thought. Now another thought comes and says, well, no, I'm not that bad. I mean, I'm all right. I mean, look at my life. It's not so bad. So that thought comes with different I. The body is here. The certain frequency of the conditioning, certain algorithm of responding, already preconditioned throughout the life experiences and everything. Even the teachers which I admire, who I admired, or parents or whatever, they made me receptive towards certain frequencies. And now the thought comes with presupposed I, and it takes over the body. And now that thought runs the show, that I runs the show. And not so bad, my life is all right. Yeah, but 5 minutes ago there was another thought with another I and another feeling and another identification. Where is it? Is it the same I? Or is it completely different I? And who am I in that? I'm that which never changes. I'm that in which both of them happened. The unworthy thought, the thought with presupposed I, and the other thought, not too bad. Or maybe there will be a grandiose thought, I'm the savior of the universe coming next. Who knows? But there is a consciousness in which all of them play out. And with that consciousness having strong enough amount of attention released and easy, that thought is not going to have the strength to take over all the system. It will show up as an option, but it won't be believed because there is not enough energy in the field. The energy is free to be aware, to observe that show, that entertainment of passing thoughts. So the thoughts may come, judgments may come, the fears may come, anxieties, everything may come. But then you see them for what they are. They just ideas, they just different universes, like all those pictures of conspiracies. You see them, oh, look at this one, look at this one. Or self-identification, oh, this, that. Now, which one is true? You see them all. You're free from all. You are the consciousness in which this dance comes up. There is the I in the red dress. Oh, there is the I in the black hat. Oh, there is the I, oh, small and drunk and ugly. And it's just, all of them are just another stories playing out in the consciousness that you are, in that open field of awareness, just like the rest of the world, coming and playing out. Right at this moment is this room. There will be another moments when the different content will show up, but you are the field in which it shows up. You're not limited to your bodies or your senses, especially when you have the internet and you can see the whole world through the cameras. Comment?
And just seeing that the personal I is like totally fabricated and made up is another way to look at that, is that it can be seen from different, because what you think of me might be completely different to what he thinks of me and what my kid thinks of me, and my worst enemy thinks of me. So which one's right? Yeah. And to see that it's all sort of a construct, or it's just an idea and thought. Wow. It just lightens things a bit. You know, his life is lighter and not as heavy, you know, and it's that heaviness. I was telling somebody else last night, you ever heard of Linkin Park? There's a song this band, Linkin Park, did called Heavy. And in the lyrics of the song, he says, holding on, why is everything so heavy? If I could just let go, I'd be set free. Mm-hmm. That man killed himself. The guy who wrote that song. Oh, you know, too bad. It's like, that's where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I know that maybe had to happen and all that stuff, but I feel like, shoot, you know, I've been there. You know what I mean? Where he's like, man, I can't let this go. I just can't. And you're stuck in your head. There's an I that can let go or hold on. That's the cause. That's the meanness. And we don't see that. And when you start to see that, wow, well, then the letting go just happens. There's nobody doing it. It just happens. And
I think there's a bit more to it, though. Over the last 18 months, I really have very little internal thought. Certainly not negative. But I just the self-chatter no longer for hours and even a couple of weeks. I'll have none of it. But emotions are still there. The whole gamut.
But do you label them?
Well, no, I just experience them, but they don't seem to be triggered by any thought. Yeah. They just sort of play themselves. Like a player piano.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And if you can actually really stay with them as they show up, without labeling them, this is the way the energy gets even. This is the way energy gets balanced in life. I'm just getting lost with this device because. At any point, there is a lot of frequencies constituting that whole body, and they are past traumas or whatever you want to call it. But there is an energy that calls for attention. There may be a blockage of the energy somewhere in the body, and it comes up. And what we instinctively do, and this is a survival mechanism, we label it and go to the head so we don't have to feel it. But if you don't label it and go to the head, what you experience is a movement of energy. And if this is where the attention is needed, maybe here, it may be here, it may be here. This is a call for attention. The attention, which is the energy, non-judgmental, curious type of an energy. This is where the universe looks at itself and gives itself what it needs. Here is the call for healing. And that awareness, non-judgmental, curious awareness, is the answer to that call. So I feel the tingling here, and wow, that's tingling. As I watch it, try to locate it, try to be curious. What's the frequency? Is it low or is it high? Is it dense? Is it thick? Just curious, just, interesting, the energy, wow, that's life. And giving it that curious attention, you see, wait, I didn't quite get it. No, stay. It's gone. It already got that whatever it needed and is gone, but it shows up in a different place. And okay, wait, let me see you, let me really feel you, let me totally give you space, let me love you as you are.
I think that's love. Okay. Yeah. And I gotta jump in because then I gotta read the comments. I want to share the internet's comments as well. It's a Bible quote. I'm gonna do some Bible thumping here. Okay, my southern accent, I'm going to do it with a southern accent. It's a little bit better, right? Yeah. But the Bible says, perfect love casts out fear. I love that quote. Because what you're doing to me, I guess, I love to define it. I'd love to try to hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah. Okay. Perfect love. What is that? Perfect love. And I really, I don't know. I have traveled the planet. And I've talked to people from different religions and lots of different people, and I really like this definition, even though it's still definition and words, and it's kind of limiting, but it works. It's an allowing of something or someone to be as it or they are without needing anything to change or get something in return for the loving of it for the giving of it. So it works in a variety of ways. So if you're being present with that sensation right here without judging it and saying, oh, this is anger or bad or shouldn't be there, or just gently, lovingly, in a way, I don't know how to say it, but sweetly, nicely present with that sensation, if we want to call it that, without even giving it a word. When you're just nicely present, not like, ah, shit, there it is again. Go, yeah, come. I got to quote Jeff Foster here, who's like, yes, come, but leave as soon as you get here and don't ever come back. No. This is just an allowing, right? And then it worked. So it works with the sensations arising in your body. But I met a man who, because of this, well, indirectly, starting with this one guy, there was, for a little while, no Ku Klux Klan in the state of Maryland. Okay? A black dude, by the way, who loved the hate out of them. So what was this perfect love? He didn't judge him. He didn't call him, you're a racist, with these people. And yeah, you're evil or whatever. And that's really like what a lot of organizations are doing. And I get it. They kind of have to, you know what I mean? But at the same time, how effective are they being? Okay? Can they claim the same results that one person has over 200 members of the KKK surrendering their robes? And all he did was just non-judgmentally allow them to be as they were. He didn't agree. He presented his after he heard them out, but he let them be as they were first. So anyway, I just love that.
Jill,
Love
let me
idea.
comment on one last
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
because with the belief, with the sensation, emotion, when it comes up, don't make a mistake. The label will come.
Oh yeah,
Straight away.
Yeah, it's fine.
And to recognize the label as a label and then come back to the sensation. That's the way, because expecting that you will do it right and the next time the label will not come, that's nonsense, because you don't pick your labels.
No, that's right.
You don't
That's
choose
right.
your
That's
thoughts.
right. Yeah.
Just that disclaimer that it is normal, totally acceptable. Take that label with all the non-judgmental, curious, loving attention also. Yeah, you call it irritation. I had that strong surge of something that came as irritation yesterday. It was so fascinating. I took the label off, closed my eyes, and savored the juiciness. It was so yummy.
That's something you're really good at. Okay, I'm not always
beautiful. It was like a volcano.
My anger, love my anger.
Because you take the story off and you take the label off, but the label does come. It will come. That's its function. That's the languaging center in the brain. It works, and let it work.
Yeah. I'm gonna share what our lovely friends online are commenting here, because they've been making some comments, and I want to include everyone. I was with you guys online because I was following this from the United States before I got here, and I'm very happy to be here now. So Julia had added, I work with changing beliefs using a specific modality, and it definitely appears to work, but like applying law of attraction, there are holes in the story, as there is no doer, no believer. Jake replied to Julia, maybe it was a different one, who'd said earlier, within the dream we have various beliefs. He said, good food will nourish the body. That's a fact, not a belief.
Now let's talk about what's good food and for who, because a good food is a good placebo. That's
right. That also, and I did a training, Jake, called from the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and that was something they went into a lot. It was about what we're believing is to be healthy or unhealthy. We believe this.
And the collective beliefs also.
Yeah.
Right.
So
what you project that other people.
We were taught to have meat and potatoes, and we had to have this square meal, like that was milk. It does a body good, right? I don't know about that.
And also, that's another disclaimer. If someone is really attached to their belief in their diet and it serves them and is not moved to question it, you're right. Just stay by it.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. If it
Absolutely.
works, work it.
Just watch out not to convert other people, because that's violence.
Yeah, it's
and if it happens, that's life doing it anyway.
Yeah. So Julia said, Jake the fake, but how many do we know that smoke all their lives and live a long life or a longer life than those who are super healthy and get cancer. Where do beliefs come into it? When we are free of a believer, life will lead us to pick what is right for us, I believe. I'm kind of with Julia on that, personally. I mean, we're not choosing anything anyway. I mean, I think there was an NLP quote that I'd gotten that everyone's doing the best that they can with the resources that they have in any given moment. And resources can vary from moment to moment. So sometimes you have the resource of money, and sometimes you have energy, and sometimes you have health. But like the most overlooked resource is the presence or the absence of a thought.
And then the disclaimer. There is not everybody, just thoughts.
Yeah.
Thoughts playing out moment to moment. So this moment, there's no one there but this type of thought, claiming to have an I within it. And the next moment, there's a different thought. If the thought doesn't occur, whose fault is that? There was no one there.
Yeah. Amaranth said, seeing personal I as part of universal makes it universal, vanishes itself. Julia said, loving this talk. Thank you, everyone. Grateful for my recent awakening. I don't know if there's a my that recently awakes. That's the thing. All right, Julia, that's my own head. Okay,
Yeah, it's
my head.
Putting it in language is so incredibly difficult to put that in language.
Yeah. And then let me see. Trying to seeing personal. Amaranth said, "Who am I is the best food for the mind." I'm with you, Amaranth. I was thinking yesterday that my mantra is "Who gives a shit." Amaranth said, "Perfect love is disappearance of a personal I." I like that too. Yeah, that would be. And Jake said, "Beliefs are only food for the body mind." I would agree with that too. Amaranth said, "Labeling is a fixation or a creation of a personal I." And John David Weekly said, "If you expect any benefits from your search, material, mental, or spiritual, you have missed the point. Truth gives no advantage. It gives you no higher status, no power over others. All you get is truth and the freedom from the false." Nisargadatta, and I am that. Ooh.
Really?
Yum. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good for a start.
That was it.
And what more would you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's where we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so just back in here. I think.
I was thinking about what John, or what was the quote that he gave from Nisargadatta. And I'm reminded of like when I first began exploring in this direction. It was Eckhart Tolle, and I had heard the story of like how he'd lived 2 years on a park bench, and I thought, well, without knowing, I was thinking he was homeless. He wasn't homeless. He just hung out there all day, But I'm thinking, he's homeless now, living on a park bench. There's got to be a way to experience this awakeness without living on a park bench. But what never occurred to me at the time is, you could be in a prison cell. That's just like location. If you're bliss, who gives a shit where you are? That it didn't occur to me as far as the law of attraction is concerned. And I was really into it because I got certified before, like even getting turned on to this. I'd gotten certified to teach the law of attraction because I was like, wow, this is true. This is really true. This law of attraction stuff, it totally explains everything. Oh my God, now I understand why I'm such a loser, right? But then I heard Eckhart Tolle quoting Lao Tzu, who said, if you think of a time when you had sadness or depression, what he was saying is your attention's in the past. If you have stress or anxiety, your attention is fixated on the future. If you have peace, you're here now. And I thought, well, how do I be here now while trying to manifest the mansion that's on the beach that's not here now? But it's like, I guess, but going back to what I'd said before about, it doesn't matter. It's like, if you are like Marianne Williamson. I'm kind of talking in circles here, but she'd said that the law of attraction is valid, but it's spiritually immature. And I'm like, I think the reason, she never said why, I never heard her say why, but the reason it would be spiritually immature is people with spiritual maturity don't give a shit. They don't need to manifest anything because they know that their happiness is not coming from any thought or anything outside of themselves. It's just a natural state of being when you don't have a condition for it.
And again, another disclaimer, I just have to do that.
Yeah,
There is nobody who manifests anything at all. If the thought comes and moves me to get the skill of playing a piano, I didn't manifest anything. It's just the life moving me to manifest or whatever. It's funny because, I have this personal story of going into a nautical academy as the first woman after years and years of communism laws forbidding women to be ship's officers. And all of my girlfriends back in Poland, not all of them, but a lot, were proud of me that I could manifest my dreams. I could put my heart and chase it and follow and go to the ministry. I did not do a thing. And I realized that right when it was happening. Not like, oh yeah, I had the awakening and I realized that I am not the doer, so I haven't been the doer before. I didn't have the awakening. I doesn't have the awakening. The consciousness wakes up, not the I.
Yeah.
But even during chasing my dreams, I could see that all the law of attractions, like, put your desire onto your goal, but detach from the results. I had zero control on that desire. It came out of nowhere. It shone up fully blown, and it had such an emotional component, like, oh my God, sky and ocean. Oh. But of course, come on, my left brain was logically impossible, so drop it. But still do whatever it takes. And it happened. And after that, the 17 years of working on the ships happened, and then I ended up here. I quit working on the ships and I didn't do it. Again, I never really quit. Life just moved me to support Bob the best I could. So I did the HCAT course. And there was 2 girls that came once to the meeting. And they said exactly the same thing as you were talking about Eckhart Tolle. She says, look, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't want to end up on the park bench. Or I don't want to end up like you. You were 6 months to be a captain on the ship. And you quit because of the awakening. No. That's not what happened. Eckhart Tolle wasn't homeless, as you say. He didn't do a thing. I didn't do a thing. I didn't even quit. The life moved. The energy changed. Things happened. I did not manifest anything ever. Life is giving, feeding thoughts, feeding actions. Yeah. Life is utilizing the instrument. It is not my saying whether I will desire something or I won't desire. It is not even my lack of maturity or presence of maturity to desire or not to desire, because it's not in my hands to choose whether the desire shows up or not. Yeah. It is only the recognition of what plays out. There was not a thought showing up of me to quit the job and become something else. There was not a thought of regret that the life took this course. Occasionally there come thoughts of a great blissful gratitude that the life so beautifully and creatively worked its way, flew this way. So I'm not the captain on the ship. And I'm here, chief officer by Bob. He's not here right now, whatever. But anyway, that is the moment-to-moment recognition of the brilliance of life, rather than taking credit for actions or non-actions. Rather than wanting and desiring, and if the wanting and desiring shows up, that's not my wanting and desiring. That's the body conditioned to support itself, supply itself, act out on its own conditioning. The body may be desiring certain food. Is that me desiring? No, this is just what is happening. Do I care? Do I want to stop it? Who would be there to actually have judgment around whatever shows up? So the freedom is really to recognize that the body plays out. The body has thoughts. The body has goals or doesn't have a goals.
And it's not personal and no one's doing anything.
That's it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just commenting more on that, on how, I just like, this is a Bob story. This was, 4 years ago, 3 years ago? So shortly after meeting, shortly before meeting Bob, I had met, I'm not even going to mention his name because we're live online. But let's just say he's like a well-known YouTuber with millions of hits. on his YouTube videos, and they're brilliant videos, really, really good videos. And I was a fan of this guy. I had followed him on Facebook, and I went to go meet him at an event that he was going to be at. Most people were there to see the other speaker who was on the stage, and I was like into this guy, right? And I was commenting to him, well, how come you don't point out too much that there's no free will? You know, that's like, for me, it was a big game changer, because when it's, I really think that our judgment that we have is rooted in a belief in free will. Okay, because if I'm judging you for doing anything, it's because I'm blaming, oh, well, you chose this. That's why we judge. But anyway, back to the no me or the no doership. Again, related to the free will thing. I had told this guy about Bob, and I shared a video. He was into some other like non-duality teacher whose name I don't need to mention, right? But I shared with him this video of Bob, and then a few months later, Jim Carrey, well, I kind of gave too much of a hint, had done this video, this interview where he was told, people were thinking he was crazy because he was saying stuff like, there's no me, right? And so he did a comment video on that, right? And his video but it was like almost everything in that video was like almost taken straight out of Sailor Bob's spiels that he's been saying for like 40 years, right? You know, it's just, anybody who'd known Bob knows that Bob's been saying almost verbatim, almost in order, you know, the exact same pointers. And, you know, there was no credit given at all to this, my poor old pensioner friend Bob, who's not a rich YouTuber, okay, could use a little recognition, I think, you know. And so I was a little bit upset, not as upset as other people were. There were people here, like, who knew Bob, who were, like, furious. And what Bob said, for me, was just like, wow. You know, that was mind-blowing, because he was like, he's not the doer anyway. It's just consciousness showing up. So Bob never, like, first thing Bob said, actually, was, he says, looks like approval to me. Right? And I'm like, that's true, because in a way, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? And then the other thing is like, yeah, there's no doer. He never did anything. It's just, I'm like, wow, wow, that takes the blame. It takes everything away. It just, wow, the shooting, all of it. That was, I'm going to include everyone online again. So, Amaranth said labeling is fixation or creation of personal I. I think I might have read this part from, okay. Julia said there is nobody here believing nothing. We speak within the dream. Yeah. And Amaranth said grace or self is universal without reason or cause. So, yeah, just including everyone else.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just see. Where am I here? Grace universal without any reason or cause. Okay, so really just summarizing, it all boils down to staying with what is and restraining from all what isn't. I mean, what is always present sensation. That is something so inviting and so grounding. Like really, and it's also creating a powerful habit of, like, this is the mindfulness without labeling. But to speak about it, you do have to label. Like, you know, label it breathing, you know, even if you're just aware that you're getting a little short of breath. Oh, yeah, that's a present sensation. But what we do, oh, no, I have to make the drum. Oh, no, I just got nervous. When we go to the story. No, you can just come back to this. Come back to the seeing. The seeing is such an adventure. You can walk around and you can walk 100 times, 1,000 times to the same grocery shop. And you will always see something new if you are open and curious about the seeing, what shows up. And what is the present sensation in seeing. It's not the story. It's just something that is happening immediately. And you anchor your presence. You can pick out the hearing. That is a yummy one. Even if they are so-called ugly sounds like traffic sounds or loud motorbikes or something. The ugly sound is a label, of course, and it may come up and you may ignore it. But if you open up the whole sphere of hearing, you can see that as a consciousness, you are everywhere. You are as far as that further car there that you hear it. This is where you are. Otherwise, this car wouldn't appear in you. It appears in the consciousness that you are. So there are such reminders. With the seeing, a beautiful reminder is to just get back to where the seeing coming from. You know, I see that the whole space of my gaze. And what's there behind the eyes? What is seeing? What is doing the seeing? And you can close your eyes as you walk for a second, or just focus on that abyss, that spaceless space. What's there from which the seeing happens? What is seeing?
Who gives a shit?
Well, you may just find out there is nothing there. And still the seeing is happening. What a miracle. You can find out that there is nothing that does the heartbeat, nothing that does the hearing.
And nothing is doing the caring, the giving a shit.
Yes, and it still happens. What a miracle. And that is the living, moving with life, moving with that flow of life, not against it. But when the story comes up, this is the part of present happening as well. It is a part, I may have a story about someone saying, doing something, or something appreciating or depreciating. That's a part of present happening. If this is just a part of the whole, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, functioning, that is not harmful. But if I completely forget and completely give full attention to that story, now the cloud covers the whole horizon. Now the constructed universe has covered up the interdependent reality in which 1,000 elements, 10,000 things are playing its beautiful game. I cover it up with the story, construct the universe, give meaning, judge, and basically just make a first big leap to suffering, to feeling, because the subscription to that story, that giving it undivided attention. And again, this is not always. The same process is present when you are in a creative flow. Let's say you are an artist and you're making a music. The attention is given exclusively to the creative process, but there is no I in it. There is no me doing it. There is no ownership of the action. It may come after, I did it, but within the process, it's just pure functioning, life exercising its skills. Just like Gerald, you were saying before, that blue bird. The bird is not blue. What was that bird?
Bowerbird.
The bowerbird.
Bowerbird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which does throw itself into finding all the blue elements to attract the partner. It's completely with his skills and talents. Is doing what it is designed to do. So the same way the painter is designed, is given that gift to execute, the life is actually just expressing through it. And the life is expressing through everything and everyone.
I'm happy for God to do it as long as I get the credit.
That's how it works. That's what the identification with the imagined self does. It just is happy for God to do everything, but takes the credit. Yeah. And it may not be too bad when there is a positive credit, when there is a credit of gratitude, when there is a credit, I'm so smart, I'm so glad I don't have a mental illness or whatever, some deficiency, or I have both legs and I can walk, and the identification with the body, very strong, but it comes with the gratitude. But it still has subtle trap within it, because look, now I have both legs and both eyes. Oop, that is not for granted. I may lose them, so I'm gonna be afraid that, oh my gosh, whatever I had, I'm gonna lose. Whatever I like is gonna taken away from me. And life is constantly changing. So I may feel that my legs, they will get old. I may need to end up on the hospital bed like Bob with the bionic or metal or whatever legs.
Right, so, the bionic woman. To go with the bionic man.
Go on.
No.
Oh.
Thank you. John David Weekly, said he missed part of the meeting. Did Kat give a spiel? I'll just comment on that, John. She's not going to do the same thing as Bob. She said from the beginning she's just going to do her own thing because she can't do the same as Bob. Nobody can. Amaranth said, seeing is being without seer. That was Ramana Maharshi. And he also said, thinker is the thief caught by Bob as prey. He also said, disowning the owner is the real ownership. And Monica Lewis Menno said, hi, love. And Amaranth said, postponement is the biggest trap. Postponement is the biggest trap, he said. I don't know. Postponing what?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, but it is an interesting invitation to talk about the traps, because again, with the traps comes the idea that there is someone who can fall and who can avoid the trap, or postpone. Yes, the idea of spiritual bypass and all the crazy ideas that there is a doer who has the choice.
What actually is? I keep hearing that term. What actually is spiritual bypass?
Well, it's as many definitions as people claiming it, but they say the non-duality is spiritual bypass because you don't practice, so you kind of save yourself from suffering that comes from thousands of hours of penance, and maybe ascetic practices, or maybe doing good deeds and being a scout. I don't know, some people believe that you have to deserve by actions and that you have to be eligible for that bliss to come, and that of course assumes that there is a you who need to earn it. You need to pay your homage. You need to do something to be worthy of getting something. And what non-duality says, not only there is no one there to get anything, but there is also nothing to get.
What if you're a spiritual bypass procrastinator?
Spiritual bypass procrastinator. That it means you never spiritually bypass anything. Yeah,
So
well,
you always postpone it.
always postpone the spiritual bypass.
Ah, yes.
I see. Yes, that means you are the endless seeker. Because what they say.
You're not, because you never get around to it.
You never get. Okay. Well, another idea with the spiritual bypass is that you can have the awakening too quickly when you are not ready, when your heart is not developed, when you're not kind enough, and now you are awakened asshole.
Yeah.
This again comes with the presupposition that there is a you that awakens to start with, and that you have any saying about it, that it is up to you. So now it is up to you to postpone your awakening till you develop your values. And again, this is a misconception, because there really isn't no one. It's just that life, and it is absolutely possible that if you look at the animal kingdom, there are animals that are traumatized and they all awake. None of the animals, as far as we know, has developed the default mode network. None of them have selfing network. The wolf doesn't say, I did it, and now I have to wake up from the idea of I did it. No, if that is a traumatized wolf, it will go and eat and kill their own children. Evil and awake. It shouldn't have awakened. So if there is a person who awakes, like this, there was a story about the guy who was, that was a Buddhist story. Gosh, I don't remember which one. Wasn't it the Bodhidharma guy who was killing everyone and having an amulet of a little baby children's and woke up? I don't really know. But the answer that Bob has for that idea of spiritual bypass and awakening is, you have the concept about yourself, and you have the concept about everyone. And if your concept is, I'm inferior, they have something I don't have, you go and steal and kill and get it and add to yourself. You want that for yourself. But if you drop the concepts, and there's no self here and there's no self there, what would you want from anyone? How would you want to be? Why would you want to be evil or hurting if there is no you wanting anything from anyone?
And who's higher and lower?
Exactly. If there is no concept, then you don't need to postpone your awakening as if it was up to you and as if there was anyone to awaken, because the consciousness never sleeps. It doesn't need to awaken. The whole idea of awakening or enlightenment is to see through the bullshit illusion of the dark cloud of beliefs. And that's it. You don't need, there is no one to awake, understand, liberate, get out of anything. It is really just seeing the false as false. That's all it is.
The consciousness is like rust. And rust never sleeps either.
Consciousness is like
That's it.
rust.
Rust never sleeps.
Rust never sleeps. Yeah. Yeah, that's, and that's as simple as that, because if there is anyone there to get anything, that anyone has to be questioned. If there is anyone who desires anything, wonderful, just use it. Who is there? The one who is desiring. If there is no desire, no one who wants anything, who is seeing?
Another thing about spiritual bypass, and this was Paul Hederman, I think, because I was talking to Paul Hederman once, and we were just talking about spirit, because of course that's something to be avoided, is spiritual bypass. You need to do the work, and you need to feel your feelings, and he's like, can't you see that that's the beauty of this? It's like, now you don't have to go through years, like 10 years of sitting in your ass in an ashram and, you know, sore legs and all that stuff. You don't have to do that. You can just drop it all. You know, it's just a question of who gives a shit.
And again, there is really no one to have any saying about dropping or not dropping.
Right.
Yeah, it really is so simple. And I love the way Tony used to say that, you know, the explanation that Bob has offered her on the first meeting, that the whole world and the whole life and the whole phenomena can be explained much simpler than it is usually explained, without the alleged agency inside, that is the doer, controller, free willer, and so on. And she's really brilliant intellectually. She's a researcher and she's a genius. She says, okay, let's put it to the test and see if really the whole world can be explained without the agency. Can the wind blow without the wind? Is there any wind, or is it just blowing? It's just movement of the air. Is there anyone beating the heart, or is it just the heartbeat? Is anyone seeing, or just the capacity, or the field, or the possibility, or it's just seeing? How about thinking? Is there anyone doing that? If there is anyone doing the thinking, can that anyone stop it? Or can that anyone, like Bob says, have only happy thoughts,
Not
only
one
blissful?
thought for the next hour. Not one.
Or just blissful, just have loving thoughts. Like, you know, Joe, you always say, oh, you know, the part of you that is the Buddha part, the holy part, the saint part. You only want to be this. You only want to be loving and kind and gentle. Can you do that? Well, good luck, you know. Because life is wild and life is dualistic. If there was no duality, there is no expression. If there would be no pain, there would be no pleasure. So really, everything that shows up can be explained in the way that is so much simpler without the agency. Now, of course, you have people who you can't blame anymore. You can't hate them for what they've done because they haven't done it. That was just functioning. That was just that body conditioned in the way to create the Nazism. He didn't do it, the butterfly didn't do it, you know. We were joking also before the meeting about the butterfly causing a hurricane. And Julia had the story how the butterfly caused the grandmother of Donald Trump to meet her husband and caused
That was Mark Zuckerberg's great-great-grandmother.
Okay.
It's chasing the butterfly. So, yeah, Donald Trump became president of the United States really because of a butterfly. Okay, so it was Mark Zuckerberg's great-great-grandmother who usually just goes right to, that was her thing. One day she went left because she was chasing a butterfly, but that day because she went left, she ended up bumping into this guy who would become Mark Zuckerberg's great-great-grandfather, and that wouldn't have happened if she didn't chase that butterfly, but she couldn't help herself because the butterfly was so beautiful. So she ends up meeting him, and then eventually what would happen was Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook, would be born. And then Facebook was used to make Donald Trump president. So it's really because of a butterfly that Donald Trump became president. So,
And that is a wonderful illustration of blaming. If you really want to blame anything, if you really want to be honest about the non-doership, the general way the whole universe works, then you have to say everything, even the butterfly, contributes to everything. The whole interdependent universe, everything, one element can't be excluded because the universe would change.
I wonder if I can ask Kat, is there not, and I kind of know the answer, but is there not sadness when you see how much fear people have? Is there not sadness?
Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Yeah. Do you always have sadness when you see fear? Are you sometimes reacting with other emotions?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking in a general way, not in a personal way. In a general way, is it not sad when you wake up or when you're conscious of the rest of the world being in fear?
I feel a little sad when I look at it. I mean, it's why I like to babble about it, you know, I think that's what inspires me, really, to talk and babble as much as I do about this. I've kept tech support on the phone for 2 hours talking about non-duality. I just love it. I just love it because it's such a game changer to me when you see things from these different perspectives that it just ends the game. Game over. You don't have to hold on to the upset. Done. Okay, it was just a thought. It's not here now. Because the past is a fraction of a trillionth of a second ago. The future is a fraction of a trillionth of a second from now. It's all in my head completely anyway. And, well, since it's all in my head, it's not even here. And anything,
I feel there's a denial.
That's the spiritual bypassing. Is that, you're feeling like this is spiritual bypass. I am not allowing the feeling by going to the here. Is that what you're saying?
It sounds like you're going to the head, not the heart. What you're talking about, you're not talking from the heart, you're talking from the head.
Yeah, no, and that is, No, you're right. You're right. And I see what you're saying, and that is my head that's jumping in. But then, but when that does that, everything drops away, including the stuff in the heart. I'm left with just sort of an at evenness here and empty.
But also worrying.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Worrying about a world problem makes you upset. What does it do for the world problem?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also feeling that when you worry about world stuff and you're sad about it, that makes you superior or better than those who don't. I know that this is not what you said. No. I just put it more generally.
I understand. What I'm thinking is, though, you've got people like I told you about the show I was watching last night of David Attenborough looking at the world since COVID. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for David Attenborough's feelings of sadness of what we're doing with the world, he wouldn't make those documentaries. So you're moved. Yeah. We get moved by these things. So that's where I can't bypass those feelings and just, okay, sadness comes, there it is, and let it go. If I don't stay with something, I won't act on it. And there has to be action. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. But action will happen when it's meant to. But then sometimes it's all just talk. We're bypassing something. Something is being bypassed. Something is being missed. I don't know.
Who are they?
I don't know.
Because then again, if you look at the world, and this is again, I'm going to use Bob because Bob is the greatest and is the love of my life on every possible level. So Bob is saying the same life, the same universal energy that created the climate change and the emissions and all that stuff that David, because we watched that movie too, and we were moved in the depth of our heart by his story and his calling for people to look into that meat industry and dairy industry that causes the whole thing, because that's the number one contributor. What a beautiful story. So the same life that created the drama, the same life also created David Attenborough, and the same life created people like you who are moved to respond to it and are talking about it, and also people who would not be talking about it but who would stand out and go to the governments and make petitions, organize actions, and perhaps do some more of the, and then it depends on your constitution and your conditioning, whether you will be the one who will just switch the channel, or you will be the one who will mention it on the meeting, or you will be the one who will cry quietly and pray to God, or you will be the one who jump on the barricade and do something. And neither one is better or worse or superior, because it's the same life behind it.
I agree. Back on that same point, you were saying something about, like, when we fight it, in a way we're contributing. You know what I mean? Because you're you're fanning the flames of the problem by fighting something, right? I was saying to somebody last night that I observed something. I personally don't want to take action while I'm in a peak emotional state. It's something, if I can avoid it, not that I ever have a choice, okay, but if there's an opportunity for me to put off taking the action, I will do that if I'm in a peak, if the awareness, of course, reminds me to, right? If I can't do it, if the thought doesn't occur, but I will put off making a decision, because if I'm coming from a place of fear, anger, sadness, guilt, whatever, all these fear-based emotions, my fear-based response you know what I mean? It's not necessarily helping the situation. And again, you might not agree with this too much, but it kind of goes along with the idea of the not fighting. So my friend who got the KKK out of Maryland wasn't fighting them. You know, he was not coming from an emotion of I hate, or I'm resisting, or I have to fix you and I've got to, it was more out of curiosity in his situation. But what I was going to say, I guess, was, I don't even remember. My mind does that a lot. It just goes.
Yeah,
but
just one of the responses that life gives. And sometimes there are fights, and that's also a response that life gives.
Yeah, and it does. It does. And if it's like, oh yeah, I was remembering what I was going to say now. Thank you. It's about love. And I'm really love. It's my religion. I like that Rumi quote. Allowing of what is to be as it is to the best of my ability, including this emotion, including that, of course, okay, and including the thoughts, and including everything, including your thoughts, and everything. The quote that inspired me the most was one of my inspiring quotes. He said, one person and this is maybe bullshit, because you could say, well, look at all the trouble it also caused, but one person with only love in their heart can achieve more in righting the wrongs of the world than all of the people taking action combined. And I thought of that, and I thought of Jesus, and I thought of Buddha, these people with seemingly just love in their hearts. I don't know. I didn't know. I know Jesus turned a bunch of tables down in a marketplace, kind of pissed off or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe he wasn't loving in that moment. Well, yeah, but also, and there's also a lot of good that's coming about, and then all the hatred that's coming about because of, you know what I mean? You can't. Yeah. You can't. But it's like, but still at the same time, that one person with only love, if that's true, and I don't know, and I'd like to think it is, but I don't know.
It's just a romantic, beautiful romantic idea.
It's a romantic idea, but like for me, I guess I'm in love with love, because I've noticed, again, it was another quote from Jeff Foster, and he said, heaven is an acceptance of this moment as it is, and hell is wanting it to be anything else. Okay, so if I'm fighting this in this moment, I'm shooting on it, and I'm resisting it or whatever, if I'm feeling angry, I'm in hell, because that's really, I'm saying no. It's like, and so when I ask these questions of the who gives a shit or whatever, the fight goes. It does. All the emotion. It's just all the thoughts. Everything that goes along with the thoughts, because I can't find the one who can feel that. It's just everything. And it seems, I know what you mean, like I'm avoiding something maybe. Like I'm not allowing myself to feel, and I do. you know, I think I see it as all an opportunity, because every time I catch myself, like if I have this call it a belief maybe, but in my experience, every time I let go of something, of a major emotional upset, that same thing can't trigger me in the same way. So I'm going to use traffic, like for anyone listening, as what an opportunity. Most of us get pissed off by traffic, or we could use bad weather, but traffic's a good one, right? So we get pissed off about traffic, road rage or whatever. Like, damn it, it's slow, you know. And every time you let go, that same traffic jam is just not going to trigger you the same way in the future. It's just not going to have that ability to push the button. So I see that it's like the more that I can let go, you know, that it's those buttons. And another quote that I'd gotten was that somebody said, it's not that people, the problem is not that people or situations push your buttons. The problem is we have so many fucking buttons. And so every time I let go of the me that can have a button, okay, or the sense of doership that can have a button, or the button itself, or the actual emotion, and whatever, whichever way it's done. It could be just by diving into the emotion. There's a million ways to let go. I got into that. That's what got me here, really, was my interest in letting go. And one way to let go is simply surrender to the direct experience of this sensation and just being present with it. But another way to let go is, who gives a shit? And that, to me, is like a sledgehammer. It's just faster, you know, way faster. Anyway, but who gives a shit about the speed? I should look to who's online.
Yeah, and I still,
We're
because
going over time.
yeah, we're getting over time, and I'm kind of can't wait to go to Bob to the hospital, and yeah. So I'd like to acknowledge, Joe, that, you know, behind your intention, the sadness, the feeling, is love, isn't it? It's a care, isn't it? So you experience sadness, which is usually judged as something called negative emotion. Oh, sadness is bad, anger is bad, you know, this is not pleasant. But behind it, why do you feel the sadness? You feel sadness because you care for those animals, for that planet, you see. And then instead of going to the story, sadness, oh, why these people are so damn nasty, you know. And then, oh my gosh, from that thought you may go into, oh, I wish them to extinct. I hope these damn vaccinations will kill them off, because let's see what they do to the animals on planet. So instead of really going to the sadness, you step even one step further back and see what causes the sadness. And you will find love, you will find care.
I think you hit it on the head when you took it back to where I was going. Yeah.
Yes, because we can take it forward and go to the story, or we can take it back, because the origin of all existence is love of being.
But it's what it is accepting. It's okay. That it's okay to be angry. Or it's okay. I'm finished. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be angry, hurt, mad.
But everything is okay. Whatever shows up
Anger is love also.
Everything that shows up is the manifestation of that life and the love for life. And if you come back to the origin of your sadness and anger, you will see that's the loving care. And that, if you stay with that feeling in your heart, this will more likely cause a positive transformational action if there is a call for action. Because if you disperse that energy at hatred for people, yes, that may cause the action too. You may get the Molotov cocktails and throw at the governments. That may cause the action like this. But if you come back to the origin, love is so potent, is so juicy, and is so overwhelmingly beautiful, it may actually exercise the action on much, much higher level of consciousness. And this is what we are told from every direction. You know, you won't solve the problem from the same level the problem exists.
The actions that will come about will be much more loving and not, you know, and so it's like, I think it's the difference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Okay? Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were fighting the same fight, but they had a radically different approach. In the U.S., we have Martin Luther King Day. We don't have Malcolm X Day. Malcolm X killed a bunch of people. That was his solution, or his way of doing it, okay? Martin Luther King, both of them got killed, but Martin Luther King, I think when he got killed, it was because he brought money into it. And he was talking about social inequality and that kind of stuff, but it was, his thing was, it was love, is what he said. And darkness cannot cast out darkness, only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And what I was bringing up about I don't know. It was I'm babbling a bit and keeping you in overtime, but I should just stop. You know, we'll talk more later.
I'll just wrap it up,
Yeah.
and I just kind of want to add the disclaimer that when I mention the word level of consciousness, Bob would straight away jump out and say that consciousness doesn't have a level. What I mean is the frequency, and I guess everybody has the hint of it. You know how much energy you lose when you're angry. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. Sadness is exhausting, while love is not. It's energizing. So it is the energy that actually gives you the passion, the life, it wakes you up kind of. So I didn't mean levels in a way that Bob doesn't like to use the levels, because consciousness is consciousness. It's an open field. But because the whole manifestation consists of vibration, thought has vibration, the sound has vibration, light is vibration. Every energy, solidity, the matter is the vibrating particles of energy that constitute matter. Just like you have the helicopter blades, or the ring of fire that you make by lit stick. It looks solid. It's the energy, it's the movement. Everything is the energy. So the emotion, energy in motion, as you said, Julia. So it is not really about the level. It is about the personal experience, the really, really basic, raw experience that you know from life. That when you get angry, you exhaust yourself very quickly, and then you feel ashamed, and you feel even worse.
Shit we will regret. You know,
absolutely.
Like my tenant that I let into my condo, because I was like, shit, it's been vacant for 2 months, so I let somebody into my condo who if I was, maybe less fearful, would never have let her in, because this person ended up like subletting to a meth dealer and really screwing me over, okay? But that same person who, by the way, the end of the story, if you were to go, well, somebody else didn't let go of his emotion. He was really angry. He's now going to do life behind bars because he murdered her. My tenant, this lady who was my tenant, got murdered by somebody with a gun in North Carolina. He shot her to death while she was sleeping because, he was drunk and he was pissed off, and you take an action from this peak emotional state. And also, how many people have gotten married because they got the blinders on. Oh, wow, he's so amazing. Oh, wow. And then we don't look, but he's abusive too. We don't look at that. We only look, you know what I mean? We're not seeing as clearly when we're in those peaks as we are when we're more, either way is good.
Yeah, and then of course, if there is a possibility to actually pause and see.
Nobody does that either.
Nobody does that, exactly. And there are times when there is no possibility. Reaction is explosive, just like a dog barking at another dog. He doesn't have the chance to wait till the anger wakes up. Anyway, life does everything. That's the base point. And that life is who you are. This is who you are. Yeah. You are not entrapped in your body. You are that open field of consciousness. Within you, the world appears. Within you, thinking appears, feelings appear. The objects, conversations, all of it is within the consciousness that you are. Is there anything ever happening outside the consciousness? You can't say. You can imagine that there is something happening in another country, but even that image, that imagination happens within your consciousness. You are that consciousness. There is nothing to seek. It's just discard the ideas that you are anything less than that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Boy.
So if you guys